is that?
We are back. Going on the bottom.
Yes, we are. Here we is.
We're back.
We're back.
Three guys talking sports. We'd love to have a fourth. We're just reiterate, and we'll do it ad nauseum, that if you want to be part of this collection of
whatever we do,
your own adjective here, just DM us on the Twitter machine or whatever you call it, the X Twitter, Twitter X, Twitter, Twix.
Twix are for kids.
Oh, only I'm hungry.
Oh, geez, I need a bowl of cereal.
So how you guys been? You happy baseball started? So they got my baseball hat on. Oh, Bruce is really happy.
We should have done the picks already. How about Edson's already guys already knows the World Series outcome.
It's a long season. I think baseball can wait probably until before you start making.
Oh, seriously? Like we could pick the baseball standings today, and then do it again in May, and then do it again in July, and still be way off, right? Like
right. And July 4th is like the make or break time because you can tell who's
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right around the All-Star break, early July. Yeah.
I mean,
right. We should do that.
You can divide 162 games by 9 and have basically the season is a 9-inning type season. So
that's a good point, Edson. I just want to, before we get into, you want to do baseball first? We got so much to cover in 90 minutes here. We got NCAA tournament. I want to touch on Frozen 4 a little bit because it was a big surprise last night from these guys.
Okay.
MLB, of course, and then we could touch on hockey playoffs briefly. Ovechkin watch, right?
Yep, getting close.
But before we get into anything else, breaking news: the Pittsburgh Pirates are already done, folks.
Oh wow,
they're out.
Man,
so that should make your picks easier. I just wanted to give you guys that little heads up.
Oh man, I got scratch off something already.
Worst owner in baseball.
Wonder how many games you have to lose to be mathematically.
That's the Chicago White Sox last year. How many games did they lose?
It was like 100 and they set the record by one game, right? It was like 120.
Let me see. I'll look it up.
One. Thank you, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where do you guys want to start? You want to start with we're at the Sweet 16, or actually now we're at the
Elite 8.
Dwindling 12 because there's still.
Right.
Eight.
Yeah.
We have
No,
we're Elite 8.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I lost track of days already.
Yeah. So today and tomorrow.
How many of your teams do you have left?
All right. I'm going to look. Go ahead. I'm going to look.
I'll just say going into the Sweet 16, I felt pretty good. I was at 66%. I had basically 2/3, and then disaster struck. I lost BYU. Let's see. I had Gonzaga. Oh, I lost Purdue. I lost BYU. I had St. John's going that far, so they were going a long time.
That was my worst one.
And I had Iowa State beating Michigan State, and that was a close game, 3 points. But but I still have 3 in my Final Four. So
I think if you were like one of these people that didn't really watch it and did like a standard thing, you're lucky because this came down. It's like all 4 1s are there, and 3 out of the 2 1s are there, and 1 3.
I felt this way picking it, and that's why I just kind of went for some upsets because I was like, it seemed too easy to pick.
Right.
Like, like obviously all the like top 5 seeds are going to go farther in every bracket, and that's how it's turning out. This has been kind of a dull tournament this year. There's no upsets really.
Nope.
We've had like 3 or 4 close games, 1 buzzer beater. Like it's just boring as shit. Ironically, one of the best games was the first the what do they call that? The first 4.
First play-in games. The play-in games.
The very first one, Alabama State. That was awesome. And then like I thought, all right, we're off and running. But I've been listening to a lot of radio, and I think they're right with this NIL and this transfer portal thing. the mid majors are just losing too many good players. They can't compete anymore.
It's turning into the haves and have-nots.
Yeah,
like baseball.
Yeah,
and I think it's
tournament was fun. This year's tournament's boring as shit.
Thanks for bringing that up. I think it's sort of ridiculous that they opened up that portal right in the middle of the damn. It's like the Wild West.
John Calipari said something about that.
Holy cow.
He's like, wait a minute, the portal opens today, right? But I'm supposed to be getting ready for the next game, and now I'm going to go and worry about losing my guys. Like, I got to go. Are you staying? Are you staying? Are you staying?
Yeah, that's the. Jeez.
I just looked at my bracket, and I still have all. And yeah, I just love my brother Keith's reaction when I sent him my bracket, and I said UConn's going to Final Four. He wrote me back one word, UConn, like screaming at me. I could feel
question mark.
Ironically, that was one of the better games when they lost, and that was their best game of the season.
Yeah, but they did what I saw all year from them. They're young and inexperienced, and when they get under 5 minutes left, they start making a shit ton of mistakes, like a shit ton.
Missed a lot of shots.
Fouls, bad passes, turning it over. It was just sloppy at the end there against Florida. They had them. But I had them by 10 at one, or no, 6. And then the game before, they had a 10-point lead and almost blew.
I still have my nephew's team, Auburn, to win it all.
I have Florida winning it all over Tennessee.
Yeah, I had Florida too.
So,
well, Edson, you made your picks last night.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I have on record. I texted it to you before the tournament even started.
That's true.
This one you can't get on my case.
I have it on my phone. How many teams do you have?
I have 6 left.
Total?
Yeah.
Auburn. I think Auburn's one because my Final Four were Auburn, UConn, Arizona, and Kentucky. I only have my national champion left. But I'm in 15.53 million place on the national average via ESPN SportsCenter.
I'm 222,217,143rd.
Wow.
So you got me by 13 million. Okay.
I'm on CBS though.
I'm conceding now.
Yeah.
I only have 4 teams left in the Elite 8, but 3 of them are my Final Four.
Yeah, I only got one of my Final Four. Yeah, 15.3 million, 37.7% right. Wow. Yeah, I hope the women come through.
Your women's bracket looks solid, Bruce. And that's the thing, too. If you look at the women's bracket, it's all the matchups left are 5 seeds or higher. The women's tournament's a little easier to call, though, because they are definitely the haves and have-nots. There's just not enough elite teams to fill out a 64-team bracket. There's just not. You have about 25, 26 really like solid women's teams. And then, of course, you have like 8 of them that are in the elite status. So, and that one comes down. I don't pay attention to that till they get to the Elite 8 because then, like, the competitive balance is there. But I think the Huskies got a good shot over there, Bruce. I like your pick over there.
Well, the thing is, South Carolina almost lost last night to Maryland, and that would have been huge.
That would have been. Boy, a couple of years ago, South Carolina was unbeatable. Remember that?
Oh, they were a machine.
They were.
But nothing. That's when I was working at TIC in '95. Nothing could beat the UConn women back in '95. They were a machine back then.
My favorite times were when the UConn ladies would play Tennessee.
Yes.
That was always
what was her name? Pat. Oh my God, I just had her name.
Pat Summitt.
Pat Summitt. R.I.P. And it's horrible that she ended up with cancer. But her against Gino, those were epic matchups.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
All right, let me look this up.
How about audience? I mean, are you finding this tournament dull? It just doesn't. What I'm finding myself doing is I get the alert on my phone from the March Madness app, and it's like, oh, we got a close one, and I'll turn it on and watch the last 5 minutes of the game because Like,
yeah, I haven't really watched one full game. It's more like just different.
Last weekend I did. My favorite is the first round when it starts at noon on Thursday, and I put that March Madness
all day long,
the 4 games at once thing, or I go to a sports bar and just I love it. I just love the excitement, and when those kept dudding out,
yeah,
like the last weekend, it was just like dud after dud after dud. You're right. The UConn game, which I thought they're going to get smoked by Florida. I was joking at the gym. I went before the game to the gym, and we're all laughing about how many points they're going to get beat by. It ends up one of the best games in the whole tournament, and probably the only team that's going to push Florida that hard until the final game. Although we got what
if they get there.
If they get there, I've got Florida Auburn in the final.
I was actually shocked. Houston, the game yesterday was so close. They barely made it out of there. I thought they were definitely going to just win by like 10 or more, and that was shocked me.
I had Purdue for the upset, and I almost got it.
Yeah, you almost got it.
I almost got it. When I sent you my bracket, and you were like, "Oh my God, you're picking some crazy upsets."
I know.
I just want to see an interesting tournament. That's why.
I know. And it turned out that it was.
I was willing to burn my brackets for interesting some upsets and crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean Arkansas. That was my big surprise of the tournament.
Yeah,
it's like I didn't even have them winning the first game, and they took the last game. They took them to the wire. It's like they had that lead by like they kind of blew that game
against Texas Tech. It was Texas Tech. They lost that lead.
Yeah, and it's like
Texas Tech.
Which I had. I mean, I really had St. John's at that point, so it's like it didn't really matter to me who won. But geez, that was a good game.
I took Drake to beat Texas Tech, and Drake laid an egg. And then Arkansas, and I remember saying to you, I think I'm giving St. John's too much credit.
Me too.
I had St. John's all the way to the Elite Eight.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they got their asses handed to them by Arkansas. I mean, it wasn't even close. Because they were such a good story. I mean, Patino comes back 2 years ago. They were dominant in the Big East all year.
They were great. Oh my
they were great. But, boy,
their defense was like number one probably in the country. But they shot threes like they were like clanging all their threes.
And they couldn't really shoot. Yeah,
couldn't shoot from the line half the time.
What was his best player? Was like 3 for 17.
All that,
that's not good.
Yeah,
and he kept them out. Well, they got into the thing is they're so aggressive. They got into so much foul trouble right at the beginning. Their 2 of their best players were out for like half the game.
And that's the trouble UConn's getting into late in games because their 2 bigs, Terrace Reed and Samson Johnson, they have 4 fouls all the time with like 10 minutes to go.
Yeah,
like and Johnson, he's a cement head. He just takes the dumbest fouls. Like, why is he out on the perimeter fouling a 3-point shot? What are you doing, bro? First of all, he's like 6'10", 6'11". So just stand there with your hands up in the air.
Yeah, basically.
For starters, because you got like a 7-foot wingspan. Just put him up. Second of all, why are you out there? You're a big. You should be down low.
Be on the inside.
Out there. And then throwing down a guard who's trying to drain a 3, pushing him down. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, a guy at the gym said he's got the lowest basketball IQ I've ever seen. He's got so much talent and just a low basketball IQ. He makes the dumbest mistakes.
Well, got to listen to the coach. I mean, I don't know what to say.
And I know like probably people watching hate UConn. I couldn't believe the amount of UConn hate on social media.
Was it that much? I didn't notice, but
I haven't noticed that. No.
Oh, they were celebrating in the streets that UConn.
Well, I mean, it's always that team that's so dominant for so long, just like us and the Chiefs this season. We're hoping for
us with Duke 20 years ago, right? But Duke used to drive me nuts, and I couldn't stand him. But you got to love Coach K. But the hate for Danny Hurley,
why
Danny Hurley? Because he's screaming and yelling and emotional, chasing players around, and he's got a Bobby Knight streak to him.
Speaking of chasing, I'm sorry.
That's what players want. That's why you can recruit,
Yep.
Speaking of chasing players around, did you all see that video that went viral of that girls coach that was trying to it was at the end of the game, and they did the shaking hands line, and the coach grabbed her ponytail and pulled her back.
See that? I did see that.
Wondering where that was going.
Another player came and pushed the coach away. Yeah. I did see that.
I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. It's just a game, and in the grand scheme of things, no one lives or dies because you lost a game.
Unless you're playing soccer.
When the stadium collapses. Yeah.
Oh no. Escobar. Remember in the World Cup?
That was not good.
No,
that was. I mean, the thing is, though, I love the World Cup, so if we ever do something like that,
unfortunately,
but it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
And unfortunately, there's also suicides related to. I don't know how this happens, but it's terrible.
Or look at the guy in Philadelphia this year that climbed the lamppost and fell and cracked his head and died.
Oh yeah, then the
idiot fans that just
dumbass thing.
It's at the end of the day, keep it in perspective. It's just entertainment. It's
can't just be happy about your team. You got to do something like that.
Sports is bread and circuses. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I
just saw that the other day.
Wasn't it in '94 when they were talking about? I think Keith and I were in school. They were talking about the Stanley Cup. And they said, if you ever want to find a nice place to live, go up to Vancouver. It seems really nice. It's very sedate and everything. And after the Canucks lost the Stanley Cup, that town burned itself.
No.
I said, Keith, what's going on in your town? I want to talk about hockey. I said, well, your town's not there anymore.
Well, they did rebuild it. I was just up there last summer, but
they went nuts, if I remember correctly.
They'll do the same thing if they win. Yeah, they're passionate about their hockey up there, but
they like that.
I never understand that. Detroit does the same thing. Red Wings win and they burn the town down. I'll never understand that. Philadelphia. I mean, it goes on and on. UConn,
right?
UConn was like burning the campus down the first time they started winning. They've since reined it in a little bit, but
by the way, Keith, I found this book for you. That you were making fun of me, so I got a copy of it and I bought it.
What is that?
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Well, no playoffs for you this year, Bruce.
Yeah, definitely no playoffs for you.
And I can say that comfortably because I'm a Penguins fan. We're bottom feeders, man. It's awful. Although I will say, Sidney Crosby, he once again is locked in at least a point per game. He's got 80 points, and there's still
not bad.
11 games to go. He's 38 years old. That's damn good.
That's unbelievable.
What about? Oh, speaking of hockey, what about Ovechkin calling everyone back on the ice? Will you send me that thing? That was too cool.
Wasn't that great?
That was just
Ovechkin.
Awesome.
It's so funny because my nephew and I were talking about that too, and Ovechkin, he used to be like the league frat boy,
Right.
He was obnoxious. He was, just like a self-centered jerk. And through the years, you could watch him mature into an adult, for lack of a better term. And now he's like a true ambassador to the sport. And that was great. So for people watching who don't know, Washington played the Minnesota Wild the other night, and it was Marc-Andre Fleury's last time facing Ovechkin, unless they meet in the Stanley Cup Finals. And at the end of the game, the Caps start going off the ice down the tunnel, and Ovechkin skates over and starts screaming at him and calling him back. And he wanted every single one of the Capitals to shake hands with Marc-Andre Fleury. And Ovi went out to the front and was the first one to greet him at center ice. So it was really, really awesome to see.
There's a video, if I find it, I'll send it to you, of this African-American kid that loves hockey, but he's blind, but he loves Alex Ovechkin, loves him.
Jeez.
And he got to meet him.
Oh.
And he walks, Ovechkin gives him a jersey, signs a jersey, gives him a stick, gives him a puck, everything. It's like, you look at it, and he's like, and the kid's like saying to his mom, is this really him? Is this really who it is? He said, yes. And he said, yes, I am. I am Alex Ovechkin. And you see the kid's eye, you see the kid just light up. It is absolutely beautiful. But on the funny side of Ovechkin, we had a contest down in D.C. after the Capitals won the Stanley Cup. Ovechkin was a little bit into the drink, and
Yeah, yes, he is.
and we still have a contest saying, what the hell did Alex Ovechkin say when he picked up the Stanley Cup and he picked up the microphone? So we're trying to figure out, what did Alex Ovechkin say and what did he mean?
He can always hide behind English, not my first language, comrade.
Chico Escuela. Baseball has been very, very good for me.
Very good.
You could do that. Yeah.
So the great Chase, the GR8 great, because of Ovi wears number 8, of course. He has 6 goals to go to pass Wayne Gretzky. But if you look up here, just a couple notches above, Sidney Crosby also just topped Wayne Gretzky for the points per game seasons.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Jeez.
Yep. Crosby's he needs 4 more goals to hit 30 again. That's just at his age. And Ovechkin's around the same age. I mean, they're just it's weird to see Ovechkin with gray hair. Marc-Andre Fleury's retiring. Crosby and Malkin and Ovechkin aren't far behind. I mean, that era is about to close. The door's going to close. So, yeah. Speaking of hockey, though, I just want to give a shout out to the Yukon Huskies. I remember mid-season, I was at a Quinnipiac college or university hockey game with my buddy Paul, and he says, how's Yukon doing this year? And I look on the phone. They were I think they were 14-11 or something like that, or 13-10, somewhere around there, just a little over 500. I'm like, they're doing all right. Then they won like 9 of their last 10 games.
Damn. They
made it to the finals in the ECAC tournament, and they got a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. It was their first ever NCAA tournament game last night, and they had to face Quinnipiac, who won the national championship like 2 seasons ago.
Wow.
Yeah, Quinnipiac is a great program. Yeah.
They have a great program. In fact, they said last night Quinnipiac has the record for the most consecutive current NCAA tournament appearances at 6 in a row. Because in the hockey, they only put 32 teams. They don't put 64. It's only 32.
Mm-hmm.
And Yukon beat the snot out of
Wow,
Quinnipiac.
that's shocking.
That's a shocking thing, yeah.
Behind a freshman goalie.
I got to go check that out.
Who's, I think he's Korean. His name's Callum Tung. He's 6'3" and he's elastic.
Wow.
It was,
wow.
Yeah, Quinnipiac was flat as a pancake for half the game. Like they couldn't do anything. And then they got some life and they started moving the puck around a lot better and spreading out and causing these crazy, like one of these one-timers where they pass it across the guy would, and Tung was stopping him. Like he was making these saves.
You think Quinnipiac just didn't take them seriously? They thought, this is our first tournament game of the season, so we're going to just warm up or something.
Potentially. Yeah. Yukon, the announcers, one of them was Kevin Weeks, former goaltender.
Right.
Kept saying that Yukon is the pick to surprise everyone and go to the Frozen Four.
Jeez. Okay.
So, and they have one whole line that's all freshmen, and they have a freshman goalie.
Wow.
So, no matter how far they get, look out for Yukon
future is bright.
Yeah, look out for Yukon hockey. And I think this is a direct result of the basketball program coming back to elite status.
For sure.
Even the football program's doing a little bit better. I mean, there are a lot. Forget it. They'll never be on the national stage, but at least their recruitment's a little better, I guess you'd call it. But I think this hockey recruitment's a direct result of the basketball program.
Yeah.
Well, you just freaked me out, Keith, in more ways than one, because you said a line that I haven't heard in years. When you said ECAC, I'm like, oh my gosh, they still play that league? It's still around?
Yeah, well, you got Maine in there, and with the Boston College, Boston U. That's
the old school hockey. That's really old school power hockey.
Yeah, and now you got Yukon in there. They got in. I think they went in there 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe
ECAC. Wow.
So like when the UConn program got put in the ECAC, you knew, okay, now they're gonna take it up a notch. They have to be. You can't be in that league and suck. So
right. Wow.
around the same time the basketball team went back to the Big East, it was around the same time. So look out. But if people hate UConn and for basketball, they're going to start hating them for. And the UConn baseball team is pretty damn good, especially coming out of the Northeast. That's hard to do because you got schools in California, Florida, Texas that play all year round, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia. And you get this squad that comes out of the Cowfield in Connecticut. And last year they were really good. But look at, there's a lot of UConn baseball players in MLB now. George Springer comes to mind, and
more reasons to hate UConn. Okay.
Yeah.
The UConn hate watch. We'll do that every week. Yeah. The UConn hate watch is now effect.
Yeah. Well, and as a tax-paying citizen of this state, you got to pay all the salaries for these coaches and the athletic staffs, and that gets expensive. And that's, like my aunt's like, I love the Huskies, but why do we have to keep paying these coaches $80 million? I'm like, because the program brings in the money.
Yeah.
You get in the tournament, the money that comes back is.
Well, I still remember the days of when the Big East was just starting. They were thinking about who was that guy? Dave Catlett. Was that his name? Dave Catlett? That was starting to the Big East. I think that was his name. Dave Gavitt. Dave Gavitt. And I still remember sitting in my grandparents' house and watching a game. And UConn Gamble Pavilion was nothing but a pipe dream. They were playing this old field house.
Mm.
And Don Permo was the coach.
Don Perno. Yeah.
And I still remember when Georgetown would play at McDonough, the place always held like 3,200. Then all of a sudden, the Big East exploded. And UConn, and when Calhoun came around, Thompson, Carnesecca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, we talked about it. It's like, if you, like I said, Edson, we talked about it before. Maybe you have watched that Requiem for the Big East back in the day. Watch that video for 30 for 30. You talk about scrappy beginnings, and because without the Big East, there would be no Carrier Dome, there would be no Gamble Pavilion.
Yeah. Good point.
There would be no. Philadelphia basketball was played at Palestra. I remember those games, but there would be no Villanova. There would be no Raleigh Massimino and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, humble beginnings, and much like anything that becomes successful, Gavitt was almost laughed out of the room for it.
Right.
And those late 80s, holy cow!
Oh my gosh, that was
UConn went from like Spider Ursery to what now. It's crazy.
I mean, it was like Big Monday on ESPN. You had to. That's when the UConn Big East games were playing. It was like must-watch television in the Northeast. You had to watch the games.
My favorite thing was at the beginning of the season, they had the Big East ACC tournament. Remember that?
Right. Yes.
That was always fun too, because you got to see like teams like Georgetown and go against Duke, and UConn go against Florida State, and that was fun. North Carolina against Syracuse. It was such a great time. That's when they had Pitt, Boston College.
Right.
It was Cheating Hall.
And Raleigh Massimino with that Godfather voice. You got to get some guys in to play. I just don't want to play. I don't know what's going on.
I think he was one of the, wasn't he in Lord of the Rings? He was one of the dwarves.
Oh.
He played. Yeah.
He was Gimli, I think, originally. Wasn't he?
He played the.
I'm sorry.
Edson, come on, hook us up.
When you were at UConn, you were there during Spider Ursery and Cliff Robertson, right?
Definitely Cliff. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So they were just starting. They were going to the NIT.
That's the thing. They were just. I remember my first year. It was like, hey, it was like I don't know, half hour before the game starts. Like, hey, let's go to the game. Like, what do you mean? I didn't. It's like, no, you could just go right in. It's like there's no no buying tickets ahead of time or anything like that. It was. Then by the time I got out of there, it was like you couldn't get anywhere near.
Yeah, my buddy Ray got us season tickets at the Excel Center. Well, then the Hartford Civic Center in like '89, and during the Tate George, that era. And we started out in like the lower part of the upper deck. And then the next year, our renewal pushed us up a little higher because you had to donate to the athletic fund. So, like Aetna and all the insurance companies in Hartford were putting big bucks in and taking the seats. And then the next year we went up a little higher. And then by 92, we were out. We couldn't go any higher. They offered us lawn chairs on the roof, and we declined them.
Damn!
Just before the roof collapsed. Sit here. Oops. Sorry.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that I wish I could go back and live through that again, because that process from not being good to or not being irrelevant to like the most relevant. Like, and I didn't enjoy it enough.
In Connecticut, we don't have. We had the Whalers for a while, but we don't have a major sports thing. We're a pass-through state between Boston and New York. And I remember in '79 when we got the Whalers, I was excited, but they were awful until the late '80s. And then we had some pride because they actually were winning, right? For a small window. But when they moved, it left nothing. So at least, a couple years later, the Huskies win the national championship and start this run of 6 of them now. And then the women have 11. It's the only thing we have.
That's it. We don't. Yeah, right. So, we don't have anything pro sport. Yeah, just collegiate.
So to watch that rise, but you're right. Back then, that late '80s, early '90s, when they were starting to gain prominence, it was so much fun. It was exciting to see.
I still remember down here. You were talking about the Big East ACC tournament when Georgetown played Virginia, and Ewing against Sampson was like. Everything stopped. It was like you had to watch this game.
Ralph Sampson, there's a name.
But every time I think of the Whalers, I'm sorry, guys. Every time I think of the Whalers 86 season, let's have a parade. We won the Adams division. Oh shit, we're out of the playoffs already. Okay, at least we had the parade.
Well, they beat Quebec in the first round, best of 5, right. And then they went and they had it was a great series against Montreal, and they lost a heartbreaker in Game 7 overtime. But we had a parade for a second round playoff loss. That was the closest the Whalers ever got to anything, because when the ownership changed, then they traded Ron Francis, and that was the beginning of the end. It was.
Oh man, when that happened, I remember people just like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, it was.
What
awful.
Are you doing?
One of the worst sports trades. It's up there with Herschel Walker. One of the worst sports trades.
Wow.
And then Francis goes to Pittsburgh, because what happened was Howard Baldwin was no longer the owner of the Whalers. He went and became a minority owner of the Penguins, and guess where Ron Francis went? To the Penguins.
Only Whaler I remember very well is besides Ron Francis was Samuelson and Larry Plow. And I just remember back in the day when I was living in Bloomfield, I would get on the bus and go to the Civic Center and would wear this every time I was visiting my grandparents. I would have my very own New England Whalers from the gift shop, a mesh shirt. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Now, if I wore a mesh shirt now, that would be criminally insane. But back then,
just don't show up on the podcast with a mesh shirt.
Well, it's
surprise.
The Hartford Whalers logo is still regarded maybe the best logo in all of sports history. It's genius.
It is pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
It is.
The W, and what most people don't see is in the negative space between the tail and the W is the H for Hartford. It was genius. And the players that came through here, we had the Gordie Howe and Sons. We had
I remember that. Yeah.
Kevin Dineen, Sean Burke, Mike Liute, Ray Ferraro. The list goes on. There were some great players in here. We even at the end of their careers, we had Paul Coffey and Brendan Shanahan who wanted no part of this place. But it was a travesty. After Baldwin left, they didn't want to win. I think they wanted to move, and then this ownership just kept changing. And one of the big things Howard did was because we had such a small market, to offset the cost of running an NHL franchise, he involved the community. So he had all these corporate sponsors buying into the team. So, all the insurance companies and Hartford hospitals and all those kind of things. When he left, the new owners didn't do that, and they were pulling money out of their own pockets and quickly losing money. And then they want no part of this. And I think when, his name escapes me now, the ponytail guy who bought the team at the end, he had no intention of keeping him here. Oh God, I can't remember his name now. I can't believe I can't remember his name because he was a scumbag. But anyway, be it as it is, they are now in Carolina, and I get so upset when I see every year that they play a game in Whalers uniform.
Ooh,
that's a
slap in the face.
I mean, well, they see it as honoring the lineage of the franchise because they came from Hartford. But what they really should do is play that game in those uniforms here.
That would be cool.
Play it in Hartford. Just give us the one game a year. But if you
want a Whalers memory, go on YouTube. I remember getting the album for the Whalers when they had what was that theme song called? Buckaroo.
Peter Karmanos was the last owner. I couldn't remember his name.
What was the Whalers? Every time they scored a goal, they played this song.
Brass Bonanza, which the Yukon Huskies use when they score. They played it 4 times last night.
Okay, so I still have a record of the Whalers, and I found this on YouTube. I'll send it to you guys. It was called The Massacre. It was the massacre at the Civic Center or something like that when they got they were playing the WHA, and they were playing the Minnesota somebody, and they had this huge fight because somebody sucker punched Larry Plow, and they had the guy for the Whalers was like their enforcer, Nick Fatiu, came out and beat the hell out of Jack Carlson. And to hear the announcers talking about this fight's been going on for 20 minutes, look at Fatiu and Carlson. But the thing is, though, you only get the audio, but you don't have the video. But it was like, it's crazy how back then it was like watching the movie Slapshot in real time.
Well, I was just going to say, Jack Carlson is a Hanson brother. He's the one Hanson brother that didn't make the movie because he was in the Stanley Cup playoffs when they shot it.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. So the Hanson brothers, who my buddy Paul and we were friends with those guys. We know them. So you have Steve and Jeff Carlson. And then when Jack couldn't do the movie, they said, why don't you bring our buddy Dave Hanson? He looks enough like us. Who's their teammate they were all minor league hockey players. And the producers said, okay. And then they thought, because originally they were going to be the Carlson brothers in the movie. And then they said, the Hanson brothers has a better ring to it. So they called them the Hanson brothers. And then they named the character who was going to be Dave Hanson into Dave Killer Carlson. So a little slapshot trivia for you. And there's the Whalers logo I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Genius.
I didn't. Yeah, that's a great point with the H. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just noticed that for the first time. That is pretty cool.
Yeah. A lot of people miss that. It's like the arrow in FedEx. There's an arrow in the.
Yeah.
Great use of negative space. But yeah, so that's a little trivia for you. So and Nicky Fatiu, I saw him for years playing with the New Haven Nighthawks in New Haven, coaching them for a while too. Nick was a good guy. I met him once.
He ended up with the Rangers. Did he end up with the Rangers?
Yeah, that's when the Nighthawks were the Rangers minor league affiliate. So he'd go ping pong back and forth because he was one of those fringe guys. He wasn't talented enough to stay in the NHL, but they could call him up now and then to plug a hole or bring him up for his knuckles,
right.
You know,
All right, you kick somebody. Back then, you kick someone's butt. Okay, you can go back now. Okay.
Yeah, back then, I mean, you look at a guy. Look at Ovechkin. We were just talking about Ovechkin. Like he can take care of himself out there. Even Crosby can to a point. Crosby has no problem mixing it up with somebody. Might get his ass kicked, but he has no problem doing it. Back then, you had guys like Gretzky, who was 165, 170 pounds. So
right.
Little guy. You needed guys around him like Asa Tikkanen to beat the hell out of somebody if they went near him.
Matt McSorley. Hey, Matt, could you take care of this problem, please?
Marty McSorley, yeah.
Marty McSorley, yeah. Could you take care of this, please? Gretzky's getting a little bit upset.
There was a different, because you only really, back then, you had like one good line. Everybody else kind of held the fort. You had the one line that could score with the enforcer on it to make sure the scorers got open.
Right.
But you got lines 1 through 4. There's so much talent. That's why you don't see the 100-goal scorer anymore. You know, you hit 25, 30 goals. That's an amazing season, right? That's a great season.
Right.
Because you have lines 1 through 4 can score. So, yeah, it's a different game. It's definitely opened up. There's a lot less fighting, you know, but which is good because it displays the athleticism instead of, you know, stopping the game every 5 minutes for a brawl.
Right.
Should we get into baseball?
Go for it. Yeah, we got 45 minutes. Let's throw it down.
Let's throw it down. So,
Mookie!
The trader. Yeah, let's talk about Mookie Betts here. So I was going to ask you on the show, because all week I kept hearing how he lost 15 pounds. He's sick. They don't know what's wrong with him. I was like, that's scary. And then he hits 2 home runs last night, and one of them is a walk-off. So I guess he feels better.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. He had to hold up his bargain, holding up that ring. Did you guys see the ring they won?
I know.
Damn.
I mean, talk about a team with a bottomless pit of money.
Yep. And I saw the you know, that I don't know where these numbers come from, but where they give the predicted win totals for all the teams. The Dodgers were like 104, and the next team was like somewhere in the low 90s.
91. I think it was Yankees at 91.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or Mets at 91.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then the trader, talk about the guy who wants money. Juan Soto hit one last night too for the Mets.
Yeah.
I saw it.
He withered in the opening day, but he did get one yesterday. Yeah.
There was a shot that went viral from a Yankee game where a guy had his Soto shirt on. It was one of the knockoffs where they actually put the name, because the Yankees don't put the names on the shirts.
Right.
And you could see the S, and he put a piece of tape over the rest of the name and put L out. So it said sell out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, you kind of get that vibe because him and Judge had such a chemistry. And Soto seemed to love, well, he's still in New York. I guess that part's taken care of, but he seemed to love it there. And to go to the Mets for like a couple extra cents on the dollar. Yeah.
I think he thinks that he can be the top guy in the Mets, and with the Yankees, Judge is there. So I don't know.
I don't know. The Mets are pretty loaded too, but I don't know. He's on my fecal roster for that move.
Although the Mets pitching staff is a little shaky, so
yeah. Well, so is the Yankees with.
The Yankees more.
They're done. They're done. It's over.
Hey, it's a long season. So
Bruce, coming from a massive Yankee fan like you, that's
yeah. Trade away Pat Marchand. Trade away Brad Marchand. You're done. That's it.
Oh, the Bruins, but you're still mad about that.
I'm still not talking about it. That's why I had to get this book and start reminiscing about Bobby Schmatz.
It's okay. Like, I thought of this when we were talking about hockey, and I was like, I should say this, but it's like I don't want to piss him off already. And
Bobby Schmatz.
And then he brings it up. What the heck?
You can read about the glory days with Ray Bourque and.
That's right. I'll watch YouTube videos. Walking around with the Stanley Cup. We're done.
That's
okay.
So great about YouTube.
Well, before we go back into baseball, since we're on the Bruins, I just want to quickly. I have a quick anecdote for Bruce, since he's reading his Bruins history there.
Yes.
Well, I took a class in college. Like the first class I took was called Careers in Media. I was like going part-time at night. You remember that class?
Yeah.
And one of the assignments was you had to do a shadow day with some pro environment, right? So I wrote the Whalers, and I asked if I could sit in on the TV broadcast, and they said sure. So I went up and met Rick Peckham and Jerry Cheevers, and spent the night with them. And it was the most eye-opening thing, for a young kid. It was cool just hanging out with them and getting to meet like hockey players. Like they're playing Quebec that night. So I got to meet all these great players, and it was fun. But we're up there, and the first shocking thing was the first commercial break. Cheevers takes his headset off, throws it down. He's like, "These fucking losers, these sucking." And I was like, "Holy crap!" Like, it's the stuff you don't see. You see how the sausage is made, right? Holy moly! I was like, "This is cool," because you don't. They're so professional when they go. Then he commercials up, puts his headset back on. He's a pro again. But yeah, one of those welcome to reality moments for me.
Right.
Cheevers was awesome though. What a great guy. I had a ball that night. I still have the broadcast on VHS somewhere. Cool. They mentioned that I was there on the broadcast at some point. But it was cool. God, I miss the Whalers. Can you tell?
Yeah. I thought you were going to break out to Brant Fernandez or something like that. Sound like you're getting misty.
I know. It's funny because we have a minor league team up there now. We've had them since '98, the Hartford Wolfpack. And I decided to buy 2 season seats next year because it's getting hard to get in there. And they're overhauling the building again because the building is a nightmare. It just sucks. When you get over 5,000 in this 15,000 seat arena, they can't handle it. They just can't. And the seats are small, and it's just the worst. And they asked, like, well, what made you decide to do this? And I told them, it's the building. It's terrible. And I just want a guaranteed seat. And I know you're putting new seats. And we started talking about how back when the Whalers were playing in the 80s, the Hartford Civic Center was a hockey arena with a mall around it.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was a full-blown mall. You remember, Bruce. And
that's right. That's where the Whalers gift shop in the Al Franken record shop used to be in there, something like that.
Yeah, and Chuck's Steakhouse, and then downstairs,
right,
like a mall food court. It was like get whatever you want.
Yes,
and it was awesome.
Right.
So for a 7 o'clock game, you'd go up to Hartford at 2 in the afternoon and just hang out. And now it's empty. It's empty. The whole atrium area is empty. There's nothing there. There's nothing to do.
Oh man!
Back in the 80s and 90s, Hartford got mocked for that. Like, oh, you guys play in a mall. And now every major sports stadium has a mall.
Mm-hmm.
So they were way ahead of their time. All right, let's back to baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was an interlude.
So Bruce, you did your picks on paper.
Yes, I did.
So if you want to go through division by division, and Edson and I can react and say what.
Okay, like I said, I did the top 3 in each division.
Well, I did the top.
You know what we should do though? Let's do this. Let's go back like in June. Let's revisit and maybe repick.
Okay. Well, I'm not repicking my champion. That's for damn sure.
I know you're not.
I
keep telling him. I keep telling him the A's are not going all the way, but he won't listen.
Well, Bruce, you only did the top 3, but I did all 5. So
I only did the top 3, but I did all top 5.
Well, then maybe we should have Edson read it.
No.
Yeah, Edson, you go. Yeah, I'm not going to read.
Because
I'm not reading mine.
Bought into it. All I did was just throw some teams on there, based on what I felt.
Should we start with the AL East?
I'm not talking now. I'm not playing.
All right. Well, let's start with
Ed's made me mad.
Don't take your ball and go home.
Yeah.
I'll take my World Series ring and go home. How about that? If I want to take my ball and go home, I'll do Aaron Judge and drop it.
Oh, look, the Yankees are in first place.
Speaking of World Series, I love that you sent me that clip with the Pirates 1979.
Yes.
And I have the box set of the all 7 games. That's
crazy.
That's my glory years. I go back to 46 years ago.
I still remember that World Series. The thing I remember most about that World Series is the games in Baltimore. If the field was so messed up every time, you could see the yard markers all over Memorial Stadium.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, what I remember the most about that is when the Pirates went down 3-1.
Right.
Pete Marquez, man. If you're out there, Pete Marquez, I was in 4th grade. He was laughing at me. Your Pirates suck. And I said, I bet you $5. Now, $5 in 1979 was like 20 now.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll bet you $5 the Pirates come back and win the World Series. Now, I didn't believe they could. I just had to defend their honor. Well, he paid me in pennies.
Oh, man.
He brought a bag of pennies to school.
Yeah, well, that's the proper response after getting.
Yeah, right.
Pete, I hope you're doing well if you're out there.
I mean, the only thing, like I said, I just remember when Pat Kelly hit the final out to Omar Moreno, he did a fair catch at the 10-yard line because the field was so whacked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Field was whacked out.
That was amazing too, because Willie Star Trek, he put that team on his back, man, at 40 years old-ish.
Yes.
It was amazing. Pops.
God bless him. God bless him. He was awesome.
He was the best. All right, let's get to our picks.
Okay. I forgive you, Edson, because I know you're going through with a multiple personality thing.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. It's a really hardship.
Yeah, the Titanic. I got a bad joke I'm going to tell after the air. Okay, American League East. 3rd place, I'll go backwards. 3rd place, Boston. Any reaction?
I actually had him in 1st place.
Really?
As much as it pains me to do it, because I don't like Boston at all. I thought they kind of like improved a lot and were kind of on the rise last year. So
I'm not far off. I have them in 2nd place.
Oh, there you go. We got them all covered.
Okay.
All 3 positions covered.
2nd place, the Yankees.
Yep.
And I actually had them in 3rd.
Wow. I got him in 2nd.
I'm a Yankee fan, but I was just trying to be. It was mostly because of how hard they were. And I know it's a long season; they can make a lot of moves. It's just how hard they were hit at the beginning. But
yeah, with Garrett Cole, that's a big loss. But
that's a huge loss.
I think he might have won 15, 16 games for them. I think they'll find a way to get 10 of those.
Yeah.
And 1st place, I'm taking Baltimore.
I have them in 3rd.
I have them in 2nd. So,
wow, we're all over the place. Okay.
I mean, but we all have the same.
We're the top 3, but we have different standings. Okay.
Which could be easily interchanged. I mean, these teams are very close to each other.
And I have Tampa 4th and the Blue Jays last.
I have that.
Well, didn't Guerrero sign a contract?
Or he's due to sign one, or he's signed the final year of his deal. I think they're going to trade him especially if they fall off by trade deadline.
That's a shame.
Believe it or not, this team's interested in him because they need a first baseman back.
Yep.
But and Tampa is interesting. Watching them yesterday, first seeing them in their home whites outside. Never seen that before.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
They're playing in the Yankees minor league stadium because the dome got blown up in the hurricane. And it's weird because they had a full, crowd of 8,000. It's a minor league park.
Yeah.
But Tampa will be competitive. They'll hang in there for a while, but not enough. All right, let's go to the Central.
Okay. 3rd place, Cleveland.
Okay. I had Kansas City in 3rd, but yeah.
I have Minnesota in 3rd.
Wow. Okay.
2nd place, Minnesota.
I had Cleveland in 2nd.
I have Kansas City in 2nd.
Oh, okay.
Man, this is cool. This is really cool. 1st place, this is my dark horse pun. Detroit.
I have that too. I agree with you.
Yeah,
there's something about Detroit. I mean, they're playing the Dodgers competitive.
Yeah, I love the way they played at the end of
Oh, they were fun to watch, weren't they?
Yeah. Yes, and I think they're going to carry it over.
And Keith, you and I talked about it, and Edson agreed. Detroit still has the coolest uniforms. That D is like this, like old school baseball. It's like the finest.
I'm not a fan of their road grays, but
the home uniforms are awesome.
They are, with the piping, the double piping down the middle, and that fancy D. And Cleveland, I had to put them fourth. But like, to me, Kansas City, Cleveland, and Minnesota are like almost the same. Like, it's going to be like 1 or 2 games difference between all 3 of those teams, I think.
Yeah, and I had the opposite. I had Minnesota in fourth, but like you said, it's all very close.
Yeah, those teams are so close. If anything, I could see Kansas City maybe dropping into fourth, and it's hard to, I don't know, but the White Sox are definitely nowhere close. I think we can.
Oh, in answer to your original question, 41 and 121.
121. I thought so. Yeah,
41 and 121.
They set the record for. Like, they were on pace at one point for 132, 133. They actually played pretty well down the stretch. I think, when the rosters expand and they bring up the minor leaguers, they actually played better.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because we currently have 3 wild card teams, it all depends on their records on how you're completely eliminated. So
yeah. And there's a good argument for those 3 teams in the Central, Edson, that we have log jammed.
Oh yeah,
like it could work out that those 3 teams end up.
It could.
You never know. Although that division's pretty weak overall when compared to the East and West, I think.
Right. I actually have the same thing, but the wild card coming from 2 teams in the East. But it could become from.
Yeah, because you could have Yankees, Orioles, and
yep.
like Seattle, Texas. Yeah, who knows? But all right, what do you got for the West, Bruce?
Texas, 3rd place.
Wow. It's like I have Seattle in 3rd, but okay.
Texas.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
Now this team, I hate them. I hate them.
Let me guess. The Houston assholes.
Yes, right. Bang a drum, steal a sign.
Houston, we have a problem.
Bang a drum, steal a sign.
And I have them in 2nd as well, but I actually have the Rangers in 1st, just the opposite of what you in terms of 1st and 3rd.
Hey, did you speaking of Houston, there was a problem a couple of days ago. This little kid ran out to the field. He was playing left field, and someone said, "What's that little boy doing out there playing left field?" They said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. That's Jose Altuve." So.
I know they're trying to extend his career because he's getting up there, and I don't think he's got the range anymore. So
he can see. But what are you talking about? He's barely got the height.
Hey, I'm a short guy.
Hey, but the thing is, though, you don't play t-ball like he does. Anyway, I hate Altuve.
What is he? 5'4"?
It's like 4'5". Anyway,
I have Seattle in 2nd,
and I have Seattle in 1st. There's something about that team I like. There's something about Seattle I like. I've always liked them.
You know who I love is the catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I just until Houston gets toppled, I still have them at the top.
Okay.
I have the Angels in 4th. See if Ron Washington can pull them out of the basement, and then the A's are. Look at that. They don't have a town. They're just called Athletics.
Yeah, I have that too. The Angels in 4th and the A's in 5th.
Yeah, I feel bad. The A's are vagabond. They should just put the Vagabond Athletics or the Nomad Athletics, or just put them where they're playing in Sacramento. Just call them Sacramento.
Why don't they go to Vegas?
When they go to Vegas next year, in 2 years or the next year?
2028.
Okay.
Ooh, 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's still not a done deal. That could still fall through.
Yeah.
That's still being negotiated. It's supposed to be a done deal, but we know how that. Yeah, it's going to be rough on them. I think not really. I mean, they're playing in this minor league, much like Tampa. So at least Tampa's still in Tampa.
Yeah.
They don't really have a true fan base, and This is going to be something to do on a Wednesday night in Sacramento. Let's go see the A's.
By 2028, the Raiders will be winning the Super Bowl.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Vegas is going to be hopping even more than they are.
Yeah, but for goodness sake, don't have Marshawn Lynch yell out A's as opposed to Raiders really loud.
Yeah, good point.
Is Marshawn going to show up at one of these A's games?
I don't know.
Who's going to go is most of the basketball players that play in Sacramento.
Right.
The Golden State will show up.
Next thing, throwing out the first pitch is Seth Curry from left field. Okay.
From left field.
3-pointer.
Right. This is, to me, this was a hard division. This might be, it's up there as one of the best divisions of baseball. It's right there with the American League East, if you ask me, and the National League West. This is a tough one. These top three are tough to call, man. This one, I went back and forth.
I think you can just roll a bunch of dice and figure out.
That's just it.
Yeah.
Right.
This is gonna be fun to watch, especially when we get into the dog days of August and September. Like, wow. What do you got for this, Bruce?
For which one? For
National League East.
Oh, National League East. Oh, that's easy.
No, it's not.
Wow.
Easy.
Third place. Yeah, because I'm just betting it with my instinct. Third place is the Mets.
I have the third place.
Wait. Hold on. The same instinct that had UConn in the Final Four?
Oh.
Wow. Edson, future Edson said it was a good pick, so I'm blaming him.
It's like I didn't even, I missed that fast.
It wasn't you. It wasn't you. It was future Edson who said that. Future Edson. He's going with him.
I meant the way Keith hit on that one. I'm like, I'm shocked that I missed that. To come at you. So
sorry, Edson.
You hit me like such a slow ball wiffle ball to hit. And I didn't do it.
What are you doing? What are you doing out there? As a Bugs Bunny, you like the throw pitch?
Well, the wiffle ball. You did dot.
Yeah, I have the Mets in third too, and that may have more of a hostile feelings that I have towards them. Who knows?
Second place, Atlanta.
I have that too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And first place, the Phillies. They have to win this year.
I have all that.
But like same thing. And Mets third, only because I've seen the Mets do this twice in the past, where they open up the bank account.
Yep.
They think they can load up on free agents and whatnot, and then they face plant. That's happened twice now to them. And I could see it happening a third time.
The whole thing where the sum of the parts aren't necessarily
yeah. And the Braves, because they're getting Spencer Strider back, that's going to be huge for them. I think they had a lot of injuries last year. The Braves are a freaking good team.
I think they are too.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them 2 summers ago. I went to see them play Miami, and Braves Miami, that's a mismatch on paper, but it's when you watch the Braves, they systematically can just take you apart in every facet of the game. They're methodical about how they go about things. And I can see them, rebounding from last year. That was disappointing last year, how they fell off.
Yeah.
I went to
Phillies are loaded for bear. The Phillies should be right there.
I went to a Braves game years ago down in Atlanta. And I'm not a Braves fan, but my brother-in-law at the time said, I got a surprise for you. We're going to the Braves game. I'm like, okay. And I got to see my favorite right-handed pitcher of all time. I got to see Greg Maddux pitch.
Oh.
And you talk about a professor. Oh, my gosh. He was so surgical. It was just like watching.
I got to see incredible. I got to see him pitch at Shea Stadium against the Mets in 2001-ish, 2.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Mets were flailing. He could change speeds, move the ball. He could put it wherever he wanted.
Right. And it wasn't that fast. He was just like, okay, it's going right to that string on your glove. Okay, you ready? Type of thing. And he would do it every single time.
You don't have a lot of pitchers like that anymore. The league is full of these guys that throw 100 miles an hour now.
But
you don't have the Jimmy Key was that way, and Greg
Right.
Madden, like just methodical. Mike Mussina was that way.
Right.
Didn't have overpowering stuff, but boy, could he move the ball wherever he wanted to, and it's like trying to hit a wiffle ball, right? Just
right.
Crazy.
Okay, NL Central.
Fourth and fifth. I got Miami fourth and Nationals last.
I had the opposite, but yeah, not much thought into it though.
Well, here's
be a little.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Miami's scrappy.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and I think those top three teams they have like a very razor's edge in terms of.
I agree.
Any major injury can easily flip them. So.
Like Atlanta last year, for example.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a.
And the year before, Atlanta was almost unstoppable, and then they get a few injuries and we're right off the table. Yeah, but that Spencer Strider's huge for them. He's their best player.
Yep.
All right, the weakest division in baseball. I'm sorry, second weakest, because isn't it weird how football has the same kind of alignment, and the NFC North and the AFC North are like the same, like they're powerhouse. The AFC East, the NFC East, same kind of. The parallels are crazy, right?
Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm.
The AL and NL East, they're really good divisions, like at least the top three teams, right? And then the Central in both leagues is garbage. It's like, so yeah.
It is weird how that parallels. Wow.
What do you got for this division, Bruce? And be kind to the Pirates, please.
They've been eliminated, so my bracket shot to hell.
Yeah, good point. I have to switch things around.
Yeah, hold on.
See ya.
Okay, let me taste this out.
Okay. And O'Neal Cruz is upset already. Look at that. They're gone, McCready.
Cincinnati in third place because of two things. That guy that can fly. What's that guy's name? That base runner.
Not Ellie De La Cruz.
Oh my gosh, he's
phenomenal.
He's unbelievable. He's phenomenal.
I know who you're talking about. This little fast guy on that team. I forgot his name.
Another reason is Terry Francona.
Yep.
They're gonna do well, but not that well. Second place, St. Louis. They're always in the mix somewhere.
I know. They find a way.
And my emotional pick for this year, Milwaukee, because of our boy Uke.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're going to find a way to win because Uke was something special, and I can see him. Well, it's weird. You're talking about basketball, and I'm thinking about football. It's like Uke's gone, and with college basketball, Greg Gumbel's gone. It's going to be one shining moment. It's going to.
And Bill Walton.
Yeah. So, and George Foreman. George Foreman hurt.
Yeah.
I remember George Foreman.
Talk about that at the very end here. We'll talk about George Foreman real quick. Yeah. But the good news is Dick Vitale beat cancer, and he is back.
Yes.
Yep.
What do you got, Edson? In this
I was all over the place on this one. I had actually Cincinnati in I agree with you. Francona is a big deal, and I have him actually in second place, and Milwaukee in third, and I have the Cubs in first.
I was thinking about that at the last minute. I'm like,
I don't have a lot of special insight into. I mean, Keith probably knows a lot more better about this division than anybody else, but I have no.
Sadly, I do. I
have the Pirates in fourth, by the way, not last.
I have the Pirates last.
Okay.
Wow.
Pirates in fifth, Reds in fourth, Cubs in third, Cardinals in second, Milwaukee first.
Wow.
There you go. There you go.
Well, Milwaukee's won the division like 6 years in a row.
Yep.
Until they're dethroned, they're still going to be up there.
Understood.
Now, this division, I have the Dodgers in last.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
That's a big swing.
I did that to piss off Bruce.
Geez, you're taking over for me this week. I'm going to be on Bruce's good side again.
I can't believe Bruce put the Dodgers in third.
Oh.
I think he's finally trying to get me back for outing him for his birthday. I think
we're back on that again?
I'd actually forgotten all about that.
Yes, but I just remembered. So, okay, you're even. Okay, fine.
All right, well, this just in. Pirates are eliminated. All right, back to the number one.
Okay. San Diego in third.
Me too. I like that.
Arizona in second.
Me too. I like that.
Yep.
Duh in first.
Yeah, I have all those.
There you go.
I have the Giants in third.
Okay.
Okay.
And the Padres falling off. I don't know why. The Padres they have a good team, but
Blake Snell.
No, and I think that Arizona is going to surprise some people. I think they're going to go on a little run like they did 2 years ago. And the Rockies are putrid. They're just awful.
Yeah.
The best part about the Rockies is the farm club plays here in Hartford, the Hartford Yard Goats. And the Rockies are so bad that almost everybody starting for the Rockies now were Yard Goats 2 years ago. So when I turn on their games, I get to watch the guys I've watched for years.
That is cool. That's funny.
And I have to do a job in Arizona in May. And I have one day off in the middle of it. And they are home. The Diamondbacks will be home. And it's like a 10-minute drive from where I'm going to be. And they're playing the Rockies. So I get to go watch the Yard Goats.
I'll give you some cousins' phone numbers. You can hook up with them.
If they want to go to a game with me, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, I'll give you my cousin Ricky's phone number.
All right. Sounds good. So but I think it's pretty obvious that the haves and the have-nots will reign supreme again. You know, it is weird in MLB though that every year or two, some team comes out of nowhere. A Kansas City, an Oakland, you know, Arizona 2 years ago. Like, which team? If I was to ask you guys to pick one crazy, throw a dart at one of these loser teams that we have in fourth or fifth that might surprise people and get a wild card, who would it be?
Pittsburgh.
Cincinnati.
Seriously.
Cincinnati.
I like Cincinnati because of Terry Francona and the talent that they have. But Bruce, Pittsburgh, the pitching, no doubt. The Pirates have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball.
What's that guy's name? Their starting pitcher, Skeen.
Paul Skeens. He's phenomenal. They're top three. And then they have these guys coming up later this year, Bubba Chandler and this guy Harrington, like Jared Jones. Like, they are loaded with starting pitching, and their bullpen's pretty solid. They have 4 lefties coming out of the bullpen. Who has 4 lefties in the bullpen?
Yeah, that's good.
Dodgers do. Sorry.
But, well, I mean, for a team with no payroll, but their problem is they can't hit their way. They have no power hitters, really. They're fundamentally inept because Derek Shelton's not a good manager. He's a minor league manager. Those are their shortcomings to me. But you're right. If they find a way to hit, or if they could pick up Vlad Guerrero, then it's a game changer. So,
well, you guys. I mean, one year. I mean, you guys. I have to get. Oh, wait a minute. Is this it? Oh, here it is. Here's the stat of the day for you. I found this. 2025 nationally televised baseball games by team. And we know who's in first. Can you name the top 3 teams that are going to be shown nationally in baseball?
Oh,
Dodgers, Yankees, and Phillies.
I would think Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, but I don't know, something like that.
It's Dodgers, Mets, and San Diego.
Wow.
San Diego.
What the heck?
Wow. Is Tatis the draw?
I don't know, but the Dodgers are going to be shown 21 times, the Mets 20 times, San Diego 19 times, the Yankees 17 times, the Pirates 9 times, and in last place, the Chicago White Sox
0.
0.
No, what? Oh, yeah.
9 times for Pittsburgh. That's probably because of Paul Skeens.
I wonder who the opponents on those games are for San Diego. It's probably like the Dodgers and the other two.
That's what it is too. It's matchups, right? Right. It could be Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Padres.
Yeah. Okay.
St. Louis Cardinals are always a
that was surprising.
Yeah. So here's San Diego in the top 3 is surprising.
And here's another one for you. What team has gone the longest without playing an NFC championship game?
Cowboys.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because they're putrid. Only
It couldn't happen
by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think I read that, like, now with Washington making it this year, the Cowboys are now the only team that hasn't made it in the 2000 era, like in the century. I think.
I don't think they've made it since '96, right?
Right, but I think every other team.
They're going on 30 years without a
championship. At least in the NFC.
Yeah.
It was NFC. It was my NFC listing.
Yeah.
Steelers getting close. They're on like what? When's the last time they went to the championship? Was 16. So
okay.
That's 10 years. Although the Jets, I think, are at 14 without a playoff appearance.
And
well, you saw it on Jeopardy a couple weeks ago, and they said this team won their only championship before Neil Armstrong walked on the moon.
Yeah, that was it. The question is, who is going to be quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Can you feel the desperation in the air?
Yes, I can.
For both sides? Because Aaron Rodgers now, because he's such a diva narcissist, has no more options except the Steelers. And
he actually thought he was going to waltz into Minnesota.
Yes,
and inherit this championship team. No, you don't get that.
I love how they were like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. And now the Steelers, because they've had zero plan. This goes back to like 2017, 2018, when Ben was starting to age out. They've never addressed it.
Yep.
And now they're turning into the Cleveland Browns, just trying to get anybody and try instead of just because Tomlin has to win his 9 games. You can win 9 games or 10 games with Mason Rudolph. You don't need this guy because you're only going to win 9 games or 10 games with him too. Maybe he made the Jets worse. I'll argue Aaron Rodgers made the Jets worse. And I can't see him getting along with the coaching staff in Pittsburgh because he's going to want to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
That's what their problem was with Wilson. They said Wilson and Artie Smith were butting heads all year. Well, if Wilson couldn't get along with Artie Smith, what do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do? At least Wilson's still like a rah-rah guy, as phony as he is. You know, he's positive all the time, and he's trying to fire up his teammates. Aaron Rodgers will go put a towel on his head and go sulk. I hate that guy. If he comes to Pittsburgh, I will root against the Steelers this year.
That would be an interesting.
That would be so cool to watch.
That would be an interesting fall season.
No, because I will want him to suck so bad, and then they win 5 games, and the draft's in Pittsburgh next year, and then you draft your franchise quarterback.
Can't wait till you come up with the introductory video for next year's shows and football.
I can't stand him.
Aaron Rodgers goes over there.
I can't stand him. When
he's went such a diva.
I was like, perfect. Go to the Jets because that's where you belong.
That was kind of like
he's a piece of garbage. I don't want him. And he's 41. He's washed up, and like, why are the Steelers letting him hold them hostage for
I don't
weeks?
know.
I'd be like, you know what? Piss off, man. You're washed up anyway. Get out of here.
Yeah.
He
was using the Steelers and the Giants to get Minnesota interested, and once that went down, that both of them kind of like.
And meanwhile, the Steelers lost out on everybody. The only people left are Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. And you know what? I'd rather have Joe Flacco.
I was going to say Flacco's not such a bag.
Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco can stand in there and deliver. Yeah, he'll throw a few picks here and there, but you know what? I'd rather have Joe. He's a good guy. He's not an asshole like Aaron Rodgers. But speaking of good guys,
yeah.
Speaking of good guys, this one stung, man.
That was bad.
Oh, that hurt my heart.
Still too young.
I'm glad you brought it up, Bruce, because I would have blanked on this one.
Still too young.
This was not something to blank on. Did anybody determine what happened to him? They still haven't said what happened.
They still haven't said.
I'm guessing a heart attack at his weight, and I don't know. Who knows? He's taken a lot of hits to the head. I mean,
yep.
But boy, talk about a guy with a smile that could like change your day. There were times I'd be in a kind of a pissy mood or a little depressed, and I'd see him on TV with that smile, and I'd be happy again. George Foreman had that ability.
Yeah,
and it's funny because he started out as the villain.
Oh yeah, he was the baddest man.
People hated him. He was Darth Vader. And then he lost to Ali, and he went into retirement for a decade, and he comes out as this lovable goofball guy, trying to win the title, and he wins the title again at 40. What was he, 45, 46 years old?
Unbelievable.
And I remember watching that fight with my buddy Doug, that Michael Moorer fight. We were at a sports bar watching it. He was like the Terminator. He just kept walking into punches. Moorer just kept hitting him. Well, like Moorer was dominating the fight.
Right.
Coming at him, and he just kept hitting him. And all of a sudden, Foreman just went whack, just dropped him. Game over. I'm the champion. That was unbelievable. That
was emotional.
It's like one of those Rocky movie scripts.
Yeah, it really was.
Someone gets kicked up, and then
I remember listening to what Foreman said after the fight. He said, in the 10th round, I hit him and it stunned him, and he said, if I can hit him one more time, just aim it like a quarter of an inch lower, I'll have him. He said, okay, when we do it, he said, okay, I'll do it now. And Moorer walked in. He said, okay, there's my quarter of an inch. Bam. And right Moorer said,
yep, right on the jaw.
Yeah.
Yep.
He knew it. Said, if I get him just a quarter of an inch lower, I'll have him.
It was unbelievable. And like, I was so happy for the guy, 45, 46 years old, to win the title again. And it was, just one of those feel good sports stories. And then, of course, he transcended sports with the George Foreman grill, and all his boys also named
personality
George.
And
personality.
The irony of it is, like, when I think of him, I don't even think of the boxing part. I think of him as post-boxing. As incredible as his boxing was, I think of him as after, like, the person. Like, he's always got this great personality. It was like unbelievable. It's like leaving boxing. He showed really what was on the inside of him.
You have to when Foreman came up, and he was beating the crap. I mean, I remember showing my age again. I remember when he beat Joe Frazier so easily in Jamaica.
And I'm like,
oh boy. Mm-hmm. Then I said, okay. Ali has trouble with Frazier, so because I was an Ali fan from way back when. And then he beat Ken Norton so easily in Venezuela a couple months later. And I'm like, this dude is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ali Ali played that mind game with him, and Foreman said, did the rope-a-dope with him.
Yep.
And he wasn't, it hurts because he was such an all-around great guy. He was an all-around great guy.
Ali kind of did like Foreman used the same template Ali used on him, because Ali was so much older, that Foreman used with Michael Moorer, 15 years later. It's crazy. I heard a great interview with his biographer, a guy made a documentary on him. And it was a great interview about how he went from villain to hero to pop culture icon. And the guy got emotional in the interview. And then I heard Jim Lampley with Mad Dog this week. If you have SiriusXM, get the on demand. Lampley almost started crying like 3 or 4 times because he knew George personally, and he was just like, the guy was just a gentle soul. He was just a sweetheart.
If it's funny though, if you mentioned George Foreman, because I took Mary a couple years ago to see the movie Big George Foreman.
Yep.
And when I texted her that Foreman passed away, she was like, I loved him. And I said, and she knows nothing about boxing, but what she loved was the movie about him. Mm-hmm. And she's like, and if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. It was a very good movie, very well done.
It's in my watch list. I have yet to get to it.
Oh, you have to watch it. Just an incredible movie.
Yeah, but he had a smile. He just irradiated a room, and he was that was a shocking.
Yeah, that one hurt. That really hurt. I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. It really hurt.
Yeah, he's a good man. Which brings us to the end of our show.
Yes.
So good luck with whatever teams you have left in the tournament, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We all stunk it up this year.
Except for future Edson, who's like already popped the champagne.
Yeah. We'll see who did the best of the worst next time we
best of the worst.
Yeah. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It'll help us grow this little acorn into a sprig.
Right.
At least we'll go from acorn to sprig twig. And again, if you want to be in here with us next time we do this in a week or two, drop us a line. We'd love to have other voices here through the summer. That'd be fun.
Yes, it would.
So
it can't be any worse than this. So
exactly, don't be shy. It's like not at a sports bar. We're not like in a formal.
Yeah, we're doing the games without the drinks. That's all we're doing.
Right. So that's it for me. If you guys have anything,
that's it for me.
That's it for me. Stick around off the air. I got a bad joke for you.
Enjoy the last NCAA tournament games.
Enjoy all the games and all the sports that you love. And remember, gang, it's just bread and circus. It's not life or death.
That's right.
See you next time.
Yes, I think no. Yes, the joyfulness is over. The joyfulness is over.
Thanks for watching GeekTime TV. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure to check the little bell icon anytime someone from our network drops new content here. Want some GeekTime swag? Check out the merchandise available in the GeekTime TV store, linked in the channel description below. Share GeekTime TV with friends, and as always, thank you for your support. We'll see you soon.